Go live.
Thinking about it.
He's not wearing pants. He's wearing shorts. He didn't hear me. You are live.
We were enjoying your legs, Jeff. Oh yeah, that's right. He can't.
Thank you.
Oh, could he hear that? Yeah, he could hear that.
He can hear it now. Yeah.
I hear it now. I had taken my headphones out, so I missed the sexy compliments. Much to my dismay.
Chat. No, we're not going to restart the computer right now. Thank you.
Yeah. Update.
Yeah.
Oh, I just realized that I've taken the mystery out of it for you tonight. You know whether or not I'm wearing pants.
Yes. You threw it out. You've. Well, we call them shorts. God, I'm on information overload. There's so much stuff out there about iOS 15. It's crazy. Oh my God.
Yeah.
And iOS 15.1 developer beta came out today.
I already installed it.
You know what? And I mean, I admire Apple for trying to get stuff out there, but day two, and you're throwing, and I don't know which is worse, them throwing out the beta, the day after, or the press going crazy. Look what's in 15.1, and it's like, we just got 15, can't you guys just be quiet for a little,
Oh yeah. They've been having a field day with that.
just. Okay. I think everything is set. Nothing is blowing up.
That's good.
At least so far. That's something. That's something. So I see 3 people in the chat room right now. So,
I'm probably one of them.
yeah. That's good. Cancel that.
Brittany's here early.
Yeah.
Wow.
She's here early.
Hey.
Hey.
Hi. I'm not set up at all, but there's a microphone here and I'm going to see if I can connect to it and maybe turn on lights.
That's cool. You look very golden right now. They're fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there's no light in front of me except my computer screen.
Now you look
So
fine.
I don't know how to work anything here.
That's good.
Just
okay.
The mic might not hurt.
Hold on a second. I'm going to try not to swear. Okay. I don't want you in here. Out. Out. Come on.
Story of my life. I don't want you in here. Out.
Story of my love life for a long time. Yeah, I don't want you in here. Out.
Doug comes in, sits down next to the desk and farts. That's his routine.
Oh, that's beautiful.
It's something, all right.
Wow.
Yeah, that's something.
It is.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. So I'm gonna see if I can connect a microphone. Now that there's not a dog trying to get up in my business.
I said, at least you didn't swear like Roy Kent.
I mean, I can if you need me to.
Yeah. He even swore on the Emmys. It was great when he won his Emmy.
Oh yeah.
They told me not to swear, but he did it anyway.
Did he do it to be in character, or was this like the actor?
He was doing it to be him, but just because they told him explicitly, don't swear, and he did it.
Oh, well, I mean, then you're kind of asking for it. So you get kind of glary.
They were.
But they had the dump button ready. It was all bleeped.
Yeah. You got to do that. The problem is I can't actually see. This is a USB microphone. And so I need USB-A.
Oh.
The adapter. Or dongle, as we call it.
Yes, explicitly. There we go.
We got time.
All right.
Oh yeah, we're in good shape.
How's everybody doing?
Great.
Doing good.
Great. You know, it's exciting watching you work, Brittany.
Yeah, it is. You're entertaining us.
Watching me set up my sister-in-law's microphone.
Yeah.
And there's Jay.
Mr. Miller.
What's up?
Not much.
Remind me in 2 hours to plug the microphone back into the computer.
I won't be here in 2 hours. Or
Oh,
I might
mine's
be. I don't know.
Okay. You know what, Jay? I'm not in the habit of giving you orders like that.
But if it works, why not?
If it works, why not?
Okay,
It would
everybody
be
put a
bit of
mask.
commute.
Gotta
Everybody put a mask on.
Let's go
Lauren's
find a
here.
mask.
Hey, Jay, make me dinner in 90 minutes.
Hold on. I can't hear you. I could hear you.
We heard the mask part.
I heard the mask part. You need a mask. We all need masks.
Yeah.
I'm confined to the basement. Why can't I get my output? Hold on. There we go. Speaker.
Who brings you food?
We haven't worked it out quite yet. My wife is she's here upstairs, so I'm in the basement. It's been a day. We FaceTime each other, which is good, even though she's upstairs.
That's so sweet.
Yeah,
Aw.
Do what you can.
yeah, I'm gonna see how it goes. I'm
Get,
learning as I go. It's
get like get some dumb waiter, bring it so she can just string it down.
Hey, don't talk about his kids like that.
Well, she's getting tested and she's supposed to go to London on Sunday.
Oh,
for work.
jeez.
Oh,
So
Ooh.
she was already tested yesterday after me, and she's negative for the quick test. So as long as she's negative, I'm telling her to go, so I
Yeah.
could have the house to myself at this point and not have to worry about that. So as long as I get better, then she'll
Good.
be calm. So
You seem in good spirits. We're glad you're here.
yeah,
Yeah.
the confusion, a day of confusion, I guess, was today. Talking to doctors and trying to figure out what happened. So I could bore you with all that later if you want, but it's quite. The long story short is that I think it had to do with my toothache that got me COVID. So if you want to hear that story, that's how it happened.
I thought maybe
Mr. Andrew-
a Giants fan may have gave it to.
We didn't go to a game for it's been a week, so because they
Oh,
were
okay.
away. So it wasn't that. I don't know.
Andrew
I'll be
Orr's
honest with
here.
you, I felt fine until my third booster. See if that makes anybody
Brittany,
feel
we cannot hear your mic.
better.
Yeah, we don't have anything from you, Brittany, at all. You may want to select it in Zoom. Okay, how about in the audio inputs for the Mac as well? And Andrew, would you give me a level test while Brittany's looking?
Yes. Check 1 2 3. These
Okay.
are my AirPods Pro.
That
Ooh.
sounds a little harsh, but not bad.
Different
Okay.
location. The
I hear a
kitchen.
dog.
Yeah.
I hear a dog. Whose dog?
Oh, that's mine freaking out because
yours.
my daughter and my wife are outside.
Nothing. No.
Mine's up.
Brittany, not to be smart about it, does the mic have the mic itself? I think it was a Yeti. It looked like. Does it have a gain on it? You might want to just see if that makes- There you go.
Oh, there we go.
This is the maximum. Is this too hot?
Ooh.
Dial it down just a touch.
It's you. It's not the mic.
Yeah, that's true.
that better?
Yeah, that's good. That's
Okay.
good.
Is it adequate for my impassioned speech, or do I need to turn it down?
You may want to turn it down for it if you're going to get passionate.
Well, I don't think about it ahead of time, Chuck. It just
Oh,
happens.
oh.
I think
I
you
thought
should
you.
turn it down a little bit
Yeah.
because
I
you're
thought you-
getting
I-
some plosives.
Well, and
Yeah.
also when you're leaning into it too. As soon as you lean in, it gets hotter. So
And
Yeah.
pop.
Well, we'll see
Might
how this
pop.
goes.
that works. That works.
Did you say something, David?
I said it might pop.
Yeah, it's a possibility.
Sorry. Don't know what that was.
Does it pick up the leather chair squeaking?
A little bit, but not too bad.
There's no way I will
Yeah.
sit still though. So,
Yeah.
let's just be realistic.
Yeah.
I'm very confused because I just got an email from Apple, and yes, I know, spam. But it's from insideapple.apple.com. So it just says we've automatically upgraded your iCloud storage plan to iCloud
Yeah, we all got it.
Plus.
We all
I
got
got
it.
it too.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
iCloud
that's
Plus?
normal.
I got it too.
Oh,
that's
We all got it.
legit.
Somebody posted one that got their name as null, so it must have been a database error, and they're like,
No.
"Is it spam?" No, it's Apple trying to read a database incorrectly, is what it was. So.
And
okay.
and once
You're friends
Apple
with
heard
Bobby
about
Tables
that,
too?
yes, someone
no.
in Apple was like, "Crap, go check that Apple script."
I figured if anybody would know, it would be someone in this group. So,
Of course, there might be somebody named Null who didn't get his
Yeah.
email. So
Yeah.
So rude. Oh,
the
Okay,
Rude,
guys.
didn't they make Sandstorm?
Hmm?
Sorry, I thought I heard someone say the Rude. I was like, wait, didn't they make Sandstorm?
Yes.
I said that was rude.
Oh,
a lot of people are actually confused about that email, and they're like, "What am I getting
Yeah.
more storage?" And
It- It was a little confusing. I knew what it was, but
yeah,
I can
Weird.
see how people get
Read about it.
confused.
Yeah.
I got a text from my friend's mom today, who we've only ever been in contact when he was in the hospital. And she said, "Is he okay? I got this letter." And it was like this thing about like, we were treating him for a very serious condition. Would you consider donating to our facility? Anyway, it was totally spam, but like mail spam.
Whoa.
mail.
That's rough.
Yeah.
Like I talked to him on Sunday. He had COVID a while back, but he has not been to a doctor for it.
Mm.
It's the only respiratory illness I know he's had.
I had a funny one. I got a text from the chain drugstore that said, with a link, and it said, hey, you got your vaccine here. Click here for your your documentation. And it's like, okay, this doesn't sound right. I don't understand, this. But the really weird part, I had multiple texts from them previously when I'd set the appointment up. And this, of course, this is weeks ago. Now it's months ago. And so it looked like it should be legitimate, but it's like there's that nagging thing of, do I click that link or not? So I didn't. I went to the drugstore and they said, yeah, we've been getting a lot of people come in about that. And we don't understand it because our home office has told us nothing about them texting out any links for verification. So, if we were you, we wouldn't click it.
I
It's
still
like, well,
wouldn't.
yeah, I agree, but
I wouldn't, but I still wouldn't believe the story either, because 9 times out of 10 they have no idea what the.
They have no clue. Yeah.
well, it's but it just, I mean,
Send
it's
the
one of
link
those
to
things.
Warren. He'll click it.
Yeah, there, yeah,
I'm
Yeah.
just a virus magnet at this point. Give me
Yeah.
more.
but it felt just strange. So, guys, we lost Brittany.
Oh,
We
she's-
didn't. She
She
didn't go
stepped
far.
away.
Okay, all right. I'm going to encourage everybody to do sort of what we did before, or we're doing before, especially as once you get past about 5 people, it gets a little unruly. So if we're on a topic and you can throw in, you have something or whatever into the chat, would be greatly, greatly appreciated. Instead of just trying to dive in, because that can be a challenge.
No, I'm gonna probably
Um,
drop off at some point. I'll just let you know. So
Yeah, no
Now,
problem.
Warren,
No problem.
considering everything going on with you, maybe saying
Yeah.
I'm going to drop off is the wrong choice of words.
I would very much appreciate. Yeah.
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 The,
I
shock,
need to excuse myself.
the shocker is my wife actually encouraged me to do the podcast tonight for the first time ever. Because,
Wow.
because it gets my mind off other things. So
That's good.
Friday we had to drive my only son to Ireland.
Yes, I saw your post.
Yeah, so I mean, it's been just a rough weekend all around. So a podcast is getting me out of my funk. So thank you.
Hey, it's good to have you.
Yeah.
Good to have you.
So let's do this, guys. I along the way, I have picked up a few things that I'd like to throw out and talk about tonight. So I have a couple people in mind for a couple of those, and then everybody else can act as support. And interestingly, the one Jim Ray's not here yet. So, but we'll throw it out anyway. So, so here we go.
Kelly.
Wait.
Are you thinking of the same thing that I'm thinking of, Jeff?
Oh, very likely.
Okay.
Okay. Here we go.
Sorry, Chuck. My camera it froze on me, so I had to restart it. I know how much you hate that.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. I mean, it's not like it doesn't happen during the show 40 times.
So, Chuck, I don't want to derail during the show, but I want to know if everybody knows there's a small, awesome thing. There's this guy, his name is Demi, and every year on September 21st, he does the video for the Earth, Wind, and Fire song. Do you remember 21st night of September? He does like a little video for it every year, and it's out. And I want to like give it to the chat room, like as an exclusive thing, because it's awesome. B, if you don't know about his videos, go watch a bunch of them because they're all about today. And third, like they get slightly bigger and more extravagant and more pre-planned like every year. And it's super great. And he managed to get one done this year and he didn't do one last year. And so it's like this tiny, I was just explaining to somebody earlier about how much I love this because it's like it's not political. It's not mean. It's not, there's no agenda. It's just like there was this song by Earth, Wind, and Fire that says, do you remember the 21st night of September? And one time he thought it'd be funny and went on YouTube and put on a shirt that said September 21st. And then he turned around as he was dancing, he turned around and on the back it said, that's today. And that was the whole video. And like the internet thought it was the greatest thing. And it's like this small, fun, amusing thing. So I'm going to go drop it in the chat room just for the people who are here today because it's time-based and it's fun. And I'll drop it in the Zoom chat first so you all can see it and get an idea of what I'm talking about because this is, I'll show you. This is the first one. And there's one for this year. And it's super cute. And I hope you like it. So that was all.
Okay.
Because it's today, and so I didn't want to like do that during the show because like it's not going to be as entertaining for people who hear it on the 23rd night of September because that's not today.
And it is the first day of fall too.
Yeah.
No,
Plus, pitching that to y'all gave Jim a chance to get here. So hi, Jim.
Yes, exactly. Hey, Jim, you want to come off mute and test your mic before we get started?
What'd I miss?
There you go. That's pretty good. That's good. Okay.
Just the boat.
No, we're just getting just launching. So yeah. So here we go. Yep, everything's working. In 3, 2, 1.
Underpants.
The following podcast is not brought to you by MeUndies.
I missed nothing.
I get that reference, and I'm so ashamed.
Before I try it again, Jay, give me a mic test again.
Yeah,
that was rough, hon.
Yeah,
you were breaking up.
Now you're not.
Yeah, I'm noticing this too. I'm gonna try to restart my computer.
Okay. We'll go ahead and get started, and then
laggy.
we'll pull you back in. So.
Yes.
Okay. So while Jay is wrestling with the alligator, in 3, 2, 1. Welcome to MacVoices. This is the talk of the Apple community, and I'm Chuck Joyner. Folks, it's MacVoices Live. It's Tuesday night, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, whatever time it is, wherever you are. And we are live on YouTube at youtube.com/MacVoicesTV. We'd love for you to be live with us in the chat room. But if you can be, and if you can't, that's perfectly all right. You may be sleeping or otherwise occupied. So plan on being here next week at the same time and join us then. So we have a bunch of topics tonight, just a bunch of little hit and miss topics, some of which I gathered up from the news today, some of which are coming up. But I'm going to start out with the first one that, we're going to go around the room and introduce everybody. I'm getting so anxious to get to the topics that I'm skipping things. So who's here? First up, Mr. David Ginsburg. David, good to have you.
Good to be here. And there should be some good topics because the news is just filled. My head's almost exploding. There's so much to talk about.
Yeah, and a lot of the topics I have aren't even related to what's exploding your head. So
yeah,
there you go.
Good.
Jeff Gammett is also here. Welcome, Mr. Gammett.
Chuck, it is just so awesome to see you. And I want to point out that I absolutely love your attention to the details. And what I'm referring to is you always look so sharp, and every week your lighting matches your shirt.
Yeah, that's kind of become a thing. I'm not quite sure how it happened. I think it happened by accident the first time, and then I started doing it, and
You're
people
just
seem to
that
like
good.
it. Yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, I wasn't quite
You
sure
give
how the
yourself
yellow
credit.
was.
You stopped and figured out, what am I wearing today, which is increasingly uncommon.
Well, more than most. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you. Thank you.
Well done.
That's my sartorial sense, I guess. I don't know. Brittany Smith is here. Brittany, welcome. Good to have you from a different locale and a different mic.
Thanks for having me. At least until I have to go make dinner.
Okay. Yeah. Well, they can wait. They can.
What are we having?
Who knows? It's a very limited range.
Okay. Yes, we'll have to do cooking with Brittany one night.
Oh
Yeah,
gosh,
there we
it
go.
would be awful for everyone.
There we go.
It looks like Andrew's ready to cook.
I am.
He doesn't even have to leave the show. He can turn it into a cooking show. We haven't
Andrew's-
tried that
I
yet.
could.
Yeah.
Andrew's cooking with gas over there.
Yeah.
I don't know. Kind of looks like he's cooking with microwaves.
Yeah.
No, he's
So
got gas down there too.
There is
got all the
one
gear.
fancy teapot back there.
Okay. Somehow we got to Andrew, but that's fine.
Yeah.
Andrew, good to have you. I'm so
Hi,
glad you made
Andrew.
it.
Hey, good to be here. It has been a busy couple weeks with all this Apple stuff.
Yeah.
Very.
And Andrew is on his
All this
his
Apple stuff.
AirPods mic, simply because he's not at his usual location, but it doesn't matter. It's because it's Andrew, it's all good. Live from his basement, Mr. Warren Sklar. Warren, it's good to have you here, especially under your circumstances. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, I'm living a dream, becoming a statistic and all that good stuff tonight. Yeah, no, it's good to be here. Did I miss you guys last week? I think I did. So, yeah, it's been an interesting day. And we'll talk about that another time. But glad to be here.
Yeah, we're definitely glad to have you. Please take care of yourself.
Thanks.
Let's see. Kelly Gamot is here. Welcome, Kelly. Good to have
Yes.
you.
Nice to be here.
Yeah, I have something in mind for you tonight.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, that should scare her. Yeah, yeah. Nice.
Okay,
Mhm.
Chuck, now who's scared?
Yeah,
Challenge accepted. Let's see
Yeah.
what happens.
yeah. That was Kelly's Bruce Lee imitation, and it's terrifying. Last but absolutely not least, Mr. Jim Ray has joined us. Jim, welcome.
Living the dream here too.
Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. And we have one more panel member. We hope he makes it back because he was having to restart his machine. So we will greet him appropriately when he gets here with a lot of jeers and then or cheers. I'm not sure which.
Yes.
First topic up tonight. Jim brought it up that as we are doing this, recording this, or if you're with us live, MacStock is only a few days away. And of course, it's virtual this year. And so if you hear this in time, I believe you can still go and sign up, especially since it is
Yeah.
virtual.
You can.
So you can, yeah, David?
Yeah, since I've been with Mike the last 2 weeks, I kind of have a fill in here. Yeah, he stopped the VIP sales, so that's been closed at this point. So there's no more tickets available for the in-person event, but the virtual and you can get a pass as well to review the recordings later. Those are both still available. Virtual is free. So if you just want to sign up and join us in chat, I'll be moderating the chat rooms and all the other different things we'll be doing on Saturday. So yeah, come check it out. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah. And to be fair, the virtual tickets, the VIP tickets were for a very, very, very limited number of seats that Mike was doing at a local restaurant. So it's not like if I can't get the VIP ticket, I'm not going to do it because you probably weren't going to go to Woodstock, Illinois anyway at this point. So by all means, sign up. I know I'll be online. Obviously, David will. I'm not sure how many other folks here are planning on attending. Okay, Kelly at least.
Well, Kelly's speaking, so she kind of has to be there.
Oh yeah, Jim's going. So yeah,
Can I come virtually?
Yes.
sure. That's the whole
Yeah,
point.
I'm not going. I'm just virtually going.
Virtual.
For some reason, my next 2 weeks opened up. I have a lot of time. So
Yeah.
Good.
Go on.
There you go.
Wow.
Are,
Then
are
there
you
you go.
going in person, Chuck? You said you were going to, I think.
I had hoped to, but it's not going to work out for me. So that's just the way it is. But I will definitely be online. So as well.
Guy Searle will be there with me.
is there? I haven't
I'm
seen. I haven't seen any. Is there any communication? I got emails last year. I don't remember getting much as far as joining this year.
You could go to the website, max.conference.com and sign up there.
All right.
But yeah,
Actually, I think it's max.conferenceandexpo.com.
Max.conference works too.
Yeah.
So that's why.
Oh, okay.
I think Mike has a bunch of them that all alias
Yeah.
back to the main
If you really
site,
want to
so.
go, maxtalk2022.com works as well.
So does instant messaging David Ginsburg to give me the link. That might work too. So
Yeah, there you
All
go.
right. I'll put it in
And
the
as part
chat.
of that, you could just Google Max Stock 2021 and probably get a link.
I'll put it in our chat.
Just guessing.
Yeah.
You're right.
But it's going to be a fun day. Mike, I know Mike wrestled with the idea of doing it in person this year and just finally had the circumstances beyond his control, and not just the fact that, we are in a partial lockdown, especially in Illinois, but there were just some other things that he just didn't work out. And so, we had a great time virtually last year. We're going to have a great time virtually this year. So by all means, please join us. You'll learn a lot. You'll have a lot of laughs, and you never know what might happen, because that's just the way virtual events go.
So real quick, if Guy's not doing the virtual, what did he do, the break thing last time?
The game show.
Well,
the
no, he
game
did the
show?
game show, but during he used to interview the hallways, right? During the real one. So during the virtual one, he had a whole thing where he was doing it through the app. So, and he was good at it. So I'm wondering what he's doing this year, if he's actually there. So
Yeah, there'll be some details. So that's coming out. There's a chat platform that he may be able to do that. I probably will as well. So we'll both be very active in there.
Yeah.
We never know what Guy's going to do at
true.
any given moment.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
He might be in Dave's house right now as we speak.
Well, he will be on Thursday. So
good luck.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I also at this point want to welcome in the chat room. They've been throwing some comments in. Webb is here wearing a tie and pants. It's been clarified, but not a jacket.
I feel horribly underdressed now.
I know. I mean, I'm usually the guy with the tie on, and Webb has me outclassed.
Jeff, with your black shirt on, it actually just looks like you're a floating head, to be honest with you. So we don't know what you're really wearing underneath there.
Kind of like that idea.
We'll see if you got here early enough. David and I do. We know what's going on.
That's
down
true.
there.
They both
We do.
saw me.
Okay,
below the
I
waist.
take issue with that entire assessment of the situation. I'm not convinced either of you have any idea what's happening.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, because well, never mind how we know. We just know. So
We know.
But
Yes, we do.
Just know.
if Jeff's just gonna be a floating head, I feel like now, like, you should grant wishes like John B. and Mecca Lecca High, Mecca Hiney Ho.
I could do that.
Okay.
Or maybe I could be like the little fire guys from Labyrinth.
Yes. Oh, I like that too.
Okay.
All right.
pop culture references all over the place. Some of which I know, some of which I don't.
I got the Pee Wee one. That was bad.
So let's see. Brad in the chat rooms is
Your
apparently
wish is
challenging my matching shirt and light, saying that if I ever have a plaid shirt, then the walls will be interesting. Yeah, that's true. and lastly, and Brittany, Webb is trying to help you out. He suggests toast for dinner.
Toast? Do you think my nephew will go for that?
Can't
Put
go
cheese
wrong.
on it.
It's possible. I mean, that's how you sell it to me, Kelly.
It was a safe bet.
Oh, man.
I mean, you are
Okay.
related.
I'll try it out. Thanks, Webb.
Yeah. So the next topic I have is specifically for Andrew, because it came from an article he had on the Mac Observer today.
Wait,
that
what was
just said-
first?
Max
Mac stock.
Okay.
Where were you?
I didn't know it was a topic. That's all. I just
Oh.
thought we were just talking about it to make sure everybody knew. Like, okay.
Well, that's called a topic. Never mind. So Andrew,
I'll go back to my cider.
yeah, Andrew, you sent my blood pressure up with this again.
Oh,
70% of people use the same password for multiple websites. I mean,
yes.
That low?
What do we have to do
See-
to get
see-
people to stop this?
Okay. Andrew and I are like, oh, thank God it's down to 70%.
Yeah, I work with real people. Like, I'm surprised that it's
Yeah.
that low.
You can tell who works in like InfoSec and who doesn't based on their reaction to that headline, I think.
So actually, let me find this headline because there was some specific details. Hang on, if I can find this.
And if you're like somebody in my life who will definitely listen to this, we're excited that they're slightly different, even though they're all variations of year of birth and initial.
Oh God.
Could do what Microsoft's doing, and they're trying to get rid of the passwords altogether by authenticators and biometrics and things like
Where's
that.
the
So,
thing? I've
Okay,
never
here we go.
successfully logged into a Microsoft account, even with a password.
well, they said you could actually get
There's
rid of the
that.
password at that point, and if you want to get it back, you could get, I don't know, something like that. But
Yeah, so Brittany, the great thing is that means you won't be able to log into your Microsoft accounts with a dongle now instead of a password.
Okay, so same result. Somebody wants to do something over Skype and I have a panic attack, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Just
Yeah.
wanted to check.
Yep.
Andrew,
So-
proceed.
So this is from PC Mag. They did a survey of a little over 1,000 adults, and their results show that a full 70% of the respondents admitted that they use the same password for more than one thing. And then the specific answers are more than one thing sometimes, 25%, most of the time 24%, or all of the time 21%. But of course, 21%, 25%, that's still too much. Like Kelly and I, we always say, and on Security Friday, you need a password manager.
We don't care which one. You just need one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to judge you for using if Microsoft has some sort of keychain situation. If
They're
you're
still
using
too complicated.
iCloud keychain instead of LastPass, or if you're using LastPass instead of Dashlane, or whatever it is, as long as you've got something that takes care of that for you, that's the part that's important. And we're just more excited to get you using one at all, more than, more than being all kinds of specific about which one it needs to be. So.
they're still
Yeah,
too
no.
complicated for the normal person, though. LastPass and all that is still not.
Well, iCloud Keychain has gotten a lot better. This is also a thing Andrew and I have covered on
Yes.
Security Friday. Time-based one-time passwords, the little 6-digit code you can get texted to you. Getting that code via text message itself is not very secure, but having the time-based one-time password is actually a good way. And as of iOS 15, which I'm going to go ahead and go out on a limb and say is probably another topic we're going to talk about later. That's one of the things that you can enable in there and let it take care of those for you. So there's even more things that you can make it harder for people to get your information and be able to do stuff like this. So that's also a thing that's helpful.
Yeah.
I think I always forget the specific wording, but we always say the best password manager you have is like one that is default on your accounts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it shouldn't be that hard. And to your point, Kelly, Apple has given you a very decent password manager built in, and it will, ask you as soon as you log into something, do you want to save this?
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't want LastPass, 1Password, Dashlane, whatever, with all the extra features that they have, at least use what they've given you. Please don't ignore it. And God, don't keep using the same passwords over and over.
And
Warren is still right, though. Even with something as basic as keychain, people don't use it.
I'm going to disagree with Warren that it's too complicated for most people. I think if you sit down and give it a chance, that it actually will work better, that it works really well for most people most of the time.
So I work with a lot of old people, but what I could tell you is people panic.
So do I.
But people panic when they see your password's going to be gobbledygook, because that's a panic, because there's no way I'm
can't
going
read
to
it.
ever remember that if things go
Mhm.
wrong, and
Right.
that never. So that's a problem, and it's
Yep. I run up against the same thing.
Yeah. So
There are other problems.
Mhm.
Occasionally, a particular website or app doesn't offer to save it. It does
That's-
not trigger the thing that says,
Mhm.
would you like me to save this password, even in iCloud? So I can't in good conscience tell someone they can 100% rely on that. That means they rely on it 0.
Oh, there's lots of problems. If even just today, I redid one of my devices, and when it boots up, it wants the Apple password, and of course I don't have it because the last pass isn't installed on what I need to go. And if you don't have another device, and you're stuck. So I mean, it's not
Yeah.
a perfect system out there, and people are scared that they'll be locked out of their accounts because they don't remember what the password is, and that's why people make passwords the same all over the place so they can
Mhm.
try to remember it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's the right thing
But-
to do. But
No,
that's
I
it is.
totally, I absolutely 100% understand your point. I also work with a lot of people, not just older people, but I work with people who are really not technical, and like the thing that they do in their life has nothing to do with a computer and only incidentally maybe has something to do with their phone. And so like for those folks, like I just need it to work. I just need it to do the thing, like whatever that is, like that can be a hard sell. The thing that I would tell people almost more than have a password manager is that when you fill in those security questions, no one's going to check your work. So this is a thing that I think blows people's minds a lot. Like that thing that says your mother's maiden name, don't put it. Like, especially if you use a password manager, go make it something else. And that makes it harder for someone else to get in, because if they do get your mother's maiden name, if they do get the name of your, what was the first car you drove, if they do get the street that you lived on when you were 7, like it doesn't do them any good, because if they enter the correct information, it's not what you gave it. So I know the point of those questions is to make them easy things for people to answer, but especially if you have a password manager, you can set that to be, whatever you want. And no one's going to call you and go, the street, hi, this is the website you just signed up on. The street you lived on when you were a kid was not Argle Bargle Unga Bunga 26. We're pretty sure. So you're going to need to go fix that and make it the right thing. That's not happening.
People, including
Simply not
myself,
happening.
sometimes I forget the correct answer I put for those questions, that I put
Yeah,
down.
I mean,
So,
even better. Like, yeah, what's your favorite candy? Like
I don't remember.
I don't know, today, like, yeah, I just ate a roll of Smarties. So that's the thing I'm going to write down, 2 years from now when you need it. I don't know what I wrote down. So that would be a thing I would also point out to people, especially as you're getting into password managers, is like, let them fill that stuff out too. And you can use, I don't know, Andrew, you may have to correct me on this. I don't know if iCloud Keychain will generate passwords that are words yet, the way like 1Password and Dashlane and stuff will.
I don't think it does. The other problem
Okay.
is iCloud Keychain is for passwords. It doesn't have any notes field where you can say, hey, this
Right.
was my security
Right.
question. Because I
Mhm.
was doing that, and I've been transitioning to iCloud Keychain to test that out full time, and I can't do any of that there.
So,
So-
but that would be like, if you are using a password manager, if you're using one that generates words, you can have it give you something that you could easily type into one of those fields, so you could have it be, glass, tape, headphone, whatever,
Well,
stuff like
Kelly,
that.
you can even
So-
you can even make those answers gobbledygook too. I mean,
yeah, but if you do it in a password
Mhm.
manager, they save it for you automatically. And it's nice if you have to type
Right.
it again later. So
I grant you
Yeah.
that, and I know
or tell
I know
someone
it-
on the phone. That's why I know this one, is because I ran into it when I had to give somebody the and what was the city you were born in? And I'm like, QLVX972 hashtag, like it didn't go well. So that's when I started using the word ones for that. So
yeah, and I was going to
But
say,
yeah,
'cause
I am
I had that
totally
exact
fine
same
with those
thing.
people having brain meltdowns when, like when you're on the on the phone with your phone carrier,
Mm.
and they need to verify your mother's maiden name, and you say, all right, I have to spell it for you: lowercase x, uppercase y, /# dot A7943, and they are completely lost, but eventually they get through it, and I'm like, great, I just help them burn new neural pathways.
So as an IT guy, and Dave too, what's the hardest part of being an IT person? You're
People?
muted.
You're
You're muted,
muted,
Dave, but you
David.
said passwords, and it is actually
Passwords,
it's
yeah.
printers
Oh.
for printers first, maybe, and then passwords. So
Printers and passwords.
yeah, so that life would be
That's the name a few.
yes. But
I just got a message from somebody who said I need to send you a work message that said I need to talk to you about my printer, and I said, good, I'll brush up on my profanity.
yeah. So
That's right.
it's so you know, a normal 1 hour, you know, not even a normal half-hour job at any site turns into double with the passwords, and especially when you go down the Apple route, it's a rabbit hole, because then you have to, you know, you got to figure out what the iCloud password is, and then they're like, well, we'll send the reset to your email address. Oh, I don't know my email address password, so it becomes a thing.
Yeah.
What do you guys think, Jeff and Kelly and all that, about the authenticators going forward with that? Because I think
Yes, please.
that's
Yes.
the way to go. And I think
If
if they could get away
if it-
with
Yeah.
passwords, you know, like Microsoft's trying to do, that could be
If
better.
it's a thing that's easy to manage and explain, then by all means roll it out for everybody left, right, and center. Like sometimes
You
it's hard
can't
for
go off
some
half
folks
cocked
to,
on it though.
You can't
Like,
what?
you can't go off half cocked on it though, because if it's not like infallible, you will do the worst thing ever and make people wish they had passwords again. And no one wants that.
Yeah.
So it really has to be infallible, not HomeKit level reliable. Like, you know, up in the
Way better.
99% I can trust it.
Yeah.
Or
Five
otherwise
nines.
you really can't roll it out to
Well,
Yeah.
well,
Not
right
nerds.
now, the authenticators are a password authentication system, right? So somebody puts in a
Yeah.
password, and then it pops up with the authenticator.
it's like a
saying-
follow up.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
I'm 100% for multi-factor. I think it just makes things safer on a fundamental level, as long as it's being used the way it should be used. And that's the part that can be hard.
As a fun thing, just real fast with Microsoft, I get at least once every other day somebody trying to log into my Microsoft account from the West Coast, and every time I go in there and I say this is not me, Microsoft just says, oh no, you don't have to do anything, we're just telling you, which I find cute every time, because it's like secure your account, and it's somebody's trying to get into you, secure your account, and I hit secure your account, and they're like, no, you're good. So but it works again for the most part, and we use it a lot for work, the authenticators, you know, especially with biometrics. So if you have Face ID, Touch ID, whatever you have on these devices, you're not really worrying about passwords at that point, you're just authenticating it.
But you're freaking Brittany out.
Why?
How often does this happen that you get them from the wrong location?
Every other, like a lot. And then
Why?
well, it gets, yeah, so I get that, and then I got somebody that logged into actually added an account to my Xbox account, and I actually I did some work. I found the PO box where the mailing address went to this guy. I called the company with the PO box, and they're like, yeah, we know this guy, we got rid of him. So you know, people could actually get into your account and add things to your account, which is what they did. They added a second address to my Microsoft account and tried to buy things and have it sent there. But the authenticator, I think that was pre-authenticator, and I think that's probably what's still happening and unsuccessfully. So it's been all right.
The one thing about the authenticators that I find just a little frustrating, and I mean, I agree, you know, I think they're great. The trouble is now that there are multiple authenticators out there.
Yeah.
So now instead of remembering a password, I have to remember what authenticator which site used.
Yeah.
And that
But-
gets a touch frustrating.
Some of them, a lot of them, even though they don't necessarily say they will work with all of them. So if you want to use the one in your password manager, you can. Usually it's just like if you have a Google account, it'll go use Google Authenticator, use something else. And you have to know to go to use something else, and then you can. Microsoft is the same way. Do you want to use the Microsoft Authenticator or something else? And it can be something else. And then if you use, like I use Authy, and I have a Google account in Authy, I have a Microsoft account in Authy, I have like a variety of other things in Authy that are places that also offer their own authentication system that I don't have to, that I don't necessarily have to use, but I can use the multi-factor effectively. And so that's an easy one as well. Sometimes, like a couple of times I've had to go log in, like look up, does it work? Does this work with this authentication setup? But for the most part, yeah, they will. You might have to go a slightly different route because you're not using like the default setting for that. But once it's set up, like I've never had trouble with the password authentication thing being the thing that was keeping somebody from logging into their account. If they're using multi-factor, it's not usually the factor that's the problem.
But we're right back to the same. Yeah. I mean, Jeff, you do it. If not, I'll do it after you do.
Okay. So how do we make this approachable for the muggles? Because if this creates any level of resistance,
they're
the
out.
Stress level is going to go way up, just like Brittany and Warren have been saying, and they are out. And you give them one bad experience, they are not coming back. You have lost them forever.
Yes. Yeah. And and Jeff, you took the words right out of my mouth. What Kelly just described is very understandable to all of us, makes sense. And we would kind of know probably if it supports multiples, we probably recognize most of those. Other people will say, what's this? I'm lost. I'm going back and put in password 123. And that's just not good. I want to bring Brad in the chat room has been very prolific in his comments. He's been having his own little conversation right along beside us. But one of the things he said that I think we need to just touch on a little bit is all one needs is a pencil and a ruled pad, but a text edit file or spreadsheet would do too. A column for username, one for password, and one for effective date. I guess it's better than nothing, but the trouble is somebody can take that pad, maybe not the text edit file, but somebody can lift that pad and you have a whole nother set of problems. So, and we all know people whose passwords are written on a sticky note in the very Hollywood thing of the sticky note is right there on the monitor, that says password. And that's like, well, what are you going to do with that?
They don't even have to have someone come and take the pad of paper. All you need is a water pipe that bursts and floods the room and soaks the paper, and now you can't read anything you wrote on it, and you've lost all your passwords. Or, heaven forbid, your house burns down. And but either way, you have lost all the passwords. No one came and took them from you. They're just gone.
Yeah, or go to go to Office Max and buy the thing that actually says internet passwords.
The little notebook.
The little booklet.
Yes.
Yeah, and Jeff, you are absolutely right. But see that's interesting. You're coming at it from the perspective of the user losing his passwords. I'm coming at it from the perspective of somebody stealing those passwords. But both approaches are right, one way or another. Again, it's probably better than nothing. It's definitely better than reusing passwords, but it's still not a good idea.
It is, but okay. And check to make it even worse. If someone steals your passwords, you've lost your passwords.
Yeah,
because now you don't even have that pad of paper.
Yeah, true.
So the resetting. So to reset, so I tell people resetting. People who freak out about the passwords and the complex, I say you can always reset them. I've seen, as I said, there's a few times where if somebody really is good, they go in to the account and they change the primary email address and they change the primary SMS verification, and that's it. So that's when it gets bad, and I've seen it happen in Facebook, and I've seen it happen with Outlook.com, where somebody could come in there if they get your password, they could go in there and quickly change the primary, and then they get even smart with Outlook, where they could put a forwarding to their own email address in that, in that Outlook. So basically, they get all your email too. So it's things like that you got to watch out for. But you got to be targeted for the most part for that. And there's the authenticator would save you, I guess, if that's, what's going to happen in that case. And that's what the path I put these people on that happened to it. And Facebook has authentication too. And I turned that on as well. If you log into a new device with Facebook, there's a way to turn on authenticator, and there's you can use an authenticator app to authorize that browser.
And Apple's already added the authenticator to iOS 15. If we're gonna touch upon that, now you have it built into the password section of the settings app, and that's a game changer because it's all in one place. If someone doesn't want to use Authy or Google Authenticator or even Microsoft for that matter, it's in a place that's going to be secure within the passwords app of the settings on iOS 15.
Yeah, Brad is arguing with us in the chat room. His point is the same flood that would ruin the computing, and you're the backup next to it as well.
A backup.
Well, you got to go for the 333 backup system.
Right.
Well, it depends on what the password's for. If the password's for something online, then it's not.
Yeah, but I mean, you're right, Andrew. Back that, or I'll pick on 1Password because I don't know about the others, but 1Password is storing that all encrypted on their servers for me. So all I have to do is log back into the account, and all my passwords come right back.
Right. And some password managers let you store your database on cloud servers, like
Right.
it could be on Dropbox.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Jerry in the chat room says Duo Security makes it easier to use multi-factor. I find a lot of my users like it. So yeah, there are a lot of solutions out there. The big trick is getting people to use them, because it just takes that 5-minute learning curve and that extra second to pay a little bit of attention. But a couple of weeks ago, we talked about me wanting my credit cards hacked, and don't even get me started about having one of your more important accounts hacked. I mean, that's almost worse than the credit cards, because the credit card, at least the banks are monitoring that stuff. If somebody hacks one of your accounts and you don't know it, they can be purchasing things and you're not going to be aware of it. They can be posting things under your name that you would rather not have posted, or pictures that you would rather not have associated with your name. I mean, there's so many bad things that somebody can do that's almost worse to have one of your accounts hacked. So if it sounds like we're getting preachy, folks, I'm sorry, but we need to. We really need to. We want you to be safe.
Well, I was going to say we are, because Andrew and I have a not so secret goal on Security Friday. He knows where I'm headed with this. Our not so secret goal on Security Friday is to roll in on Friday and go, howdy do, buckaroos. We're here for Security Friday. Hi, Andrew. Hey, happy Friday. And go, we got nothing. We're just going to talk to you about the games we're playing on the Switch right now, because there's nothing to report. There have been, this week in data breaches, came up empty. This week in Facebook, we got nothing. This week in data leaks, nothing to speak of. Everybody's got everything behind a good password. Nobody's having trouble with their stuff getting out anywhere. So we're just going to talk to you about the latest modification update to Animal Crossing. Here we go.
Yeah.
And that
That's
has
our
happened.
goal.
Glorious.
Yeah,
thing.
that's maybe twice.
I
Well,
was
other
gonna
than
say
that,
once.
like this week and last week, I think we've gotten enough security topics by like Tuesday or Wednesday.
Lunchtime
not
Tuesday,
good.
we had a full slate for Friday. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's never going to come to that point as long as you have the human element in there.
I know.
At all.
Yeah.
Warren, let me have this one. Someday,
One day in
we
the
will get
future,
to-
when
someday we will have a moment.
botnet or Skynet, when Skynet's taken over,
Yeah.
we don't have to worry about the humans and their stupidity.
Yeah. Just a couple more things on this. We'll move on. But first of all, Brad says 1Password supports that iCloud syncing. Great point, Brad.
Yes.
Webb points out that 1Password can also save the authenticator token as well. Thank you, Webb. Absolutely correct.
Yeah,
And
it'll do the TOTP for you, which is the authentication piece that, like I said, you have to go a little different route because it's not its own authenticator app. So you have to set that up, but it does work. And it will alert you when it's available.
Yeah.
On
And the third-
websites where it knows. So.
And the third piece from the other part of my life is that more and more insurance companies will not give you cyber insurance or other kinds of insurance if you do not have multi-factor authentication turned on. And it's appalling to me how many companies say, yeah, that's just too much trouble.
Wow.
Part of my day job is rolling it out for people who go, we applied for cybersecurity insurance. Is there anyone there who could maybe talk to us about a password manager? Because apparently that's a thing we're supposed to do now. So it's not everybody, Chuck. I just want to give you a tiny bit of
Yeah.
Also, it's also camera companies. If you notice, Ring and Arlo and all those good stuff, they pushed it out. The two-factor authentication for pretty much everything.
Yeah, which is a really good thing because you don't want somebody looking at your cameras. If it's your doorbell camera, it may not be a big deal. Your neighbor might think it's a big deal, but you won't think it's a big deal. But if it's the one that's inside your house, then it's a whole other matter.
Well, I think it's a big deal that Amazon has given that video to the cops, but that's a separate conversation.
Yeah, we're not going to do that one because that is a whole separate conversation.
Well, at Chuck, it is a big deal if someone can get at your Ring camera because now they have a way to monitor when you are coming and going from your own home.
If you use the front door, you're absolutely right, Jeff. I tend to come through another door, not my front door, so I wouldn't have even really.
Gonna have thought of that camera I set.
Well, you need to put a camera on every door, Chuck, because if you don't have a camera on that door, then now I know to come in through the door that you come in.
Yeah, but you
Hey,
don't
Siri,
know.
remind me to install more cameras at Chuck's house.
You don't know where the landmines are planted on which door, Warren. So, hey, before we leave the security thing, Andrew also did another article that I thought was really important for people to know, and that's the Apple Card lets you change your CCV. And Andrew, I'll let you run with that one too.
Yes, that was really cool. We didn't really hear about this until just today. That wasn't something that I saw as part of the iOS 15 beta, but it's official now. There's an Apple support document out there where you can change that 3-digit CVV number. They call it this Advanced Fraud Protection System. Once you turn that toggle on, then that number will change periodically. I haven't seen it change yet, but I'm assuming it might change when you actually use it. So, right now I haven't really used my Apple Card number yet, but yeah. And you can enable it at any time. You can turn it off at any time. And then when Apple says, if you do want to turn it off, everything sounds like it will be the way it was before, and it won't affect all your subscriptions or other form of recurring payment systems.
Yeah, I really like what Apple's doing here, and because it's not really all that sexy to a lot of people, it's not getting, I think, the coverage or the notification, the publicity it should. So hopefully we gave it just a little bit. So one more reason to get an Apple Card and use an Apple Card. It's improving your security, and maybe one day the big banks will get around to doing some of it. Who knows? Let's see. Okay, Kelly, this one's for you. All right, but I want everybody to sort of chime in a little bit on this one, and that is Marvel pay for subscription in Apple Podcasts for original content. Knowing you do the MCU show, I was really intrigued I wanted to hear what you thought about this, and the fact that this is the first time I've heard about an Apple Podcast subscription that has exclusive content that I might be interested in.
Yeah. I only saw a little bit about it, but part of what I thought was interesting about it is that this is a thing that we saw rolled out. Gosh, was it really early this year that Apple started saying they were gonna start making this stuff available through the pay, there were going to be the opportunities for paid channels for you to have a podcast, but then have stuff that's behind a paywall, so to speak, and then sort of have a freemium model, maybe you can hear things at a in a different way. The thing that's sort of interesting to me about this one in particular is that what they've put in what they've put behind it is I want to say it's This Week in Marvel is one of the ones that they've put behind so. That's one of the paid ones, and which used to just be a regular show that anybody could listen to. So I think it's now moving behind a paywall where it used to be available to everybody. One of the things that I thought Marvel was doing initially that was interesting was they've got I haven't listened to it yet, but they've got a Wolverine like drama series sort of that's on Apple Podcasts that looks really cool. And I just haven't had a chance to listen to it. I would like to, I don't know if I want to pay for it, but I kind of want to hear Method Man talk about Marvel Comics. I think that would be a really entertaining show. And I haven't seen what the other ones are going to be, but it absolutely makes sense that it was going to be Disney that was one of the first to roll out some sort of paid situation when they have the opportunity to do something free or get people to pay them for it. That's kind of Disney's jam. Like I like an awful lot of it, but I'm very aware of what we're talking about. Like they are a company, they are for profit. I want to stop for a minute and say bye to Warren because Warren has to go rest up. So
Bye, Warren.
bye, Warren.
I'm sorry,
Bye,
he snuck
Warren.
away from me.
Join us from the chat.
Yeah.
Join us in the chat room, and you can heckle us from there. I look forward to it.
Because nobody does that.
Well, it's got to start sometime.
You know. Yeah. The thing about it that I sort of wonder about is it's only the audio file itself. So for example, you mentioned my MCU TV podcast. That's a podcast that's hosted over at The Incomparable. And The Incomparable has a way that you can pay for membership. And when you pay for membership at The Incomparable, you get access to a Slack where other paid members show up and panelists on the shows are there, depending on who they are, to interact with you. Other membership things that I know about give you access to a Discord where you can talk to different people, who are also part of that network, or they give you access to other sorts of things. And with the podcast, it's literally just the audio feed. Like that's all you get is there is additional audio that comes with that. They don't have any way to monetize anything else that you can put out there and make available for people. So it's really just, you kind of have to treat it like another streaming service, depending on the cost and stuff. I didn't see what the cost was on this one. But I'm interested to see what they end up doing with it and whether or not it becomes a thing where the paywall, like everything that's behind the paywall is behind the paywall forever, or you can have it now. And then like a month or two from now, you get to hear what was the paid stuff, but now it's free because it's not quite as topical or interesting anymore. Things like that. I'm not sure how they're going to handle that. And I'm more interested in this as a paid podcast situation than as a Marvel did a thing situation, but I definitely want to know where it goes. And I, like I said, I haven't decided if I'm going to pay for it or not.
Well, I can tell you it's $3.99 a month. And that's about the only question of the ones that you raised that I can answer, because I know there's several shows out there. They're either Spotify. I hate the word exclusive, but they are advanced, or you listen to them early, or you can wait a week or two or three or more and then hear them later. So I think it's going to be very interesting to see how Marvel and Disney do this. And because you're right. I mean, there's nothing else to monetize other than that. And part of me says, okay, that they're almost going to have to keep that material behind the paywall in order to have it make sense, because the kind of full production podcasts they're doing, I mean, they're almost like an audiobook, a performed audiobook, or
some radio drama style stuff. I think was one of the ones I saw, and the Wolverine one I think is one of those as well.
Yeah, I don't know if you are familiar with Graphic Audio, their studio, the producers of a lot of Marvel and DC stuff. I mean, but they do sound effects, and they have multiple. They don't have just one guy changing his voice. They have multiple people playing the parts, and so that in my mind is what this is going to be competing with. Yeah, and so I look at it as an audiobook thing. Okay, $3.99 a month. How much would I spend on audiobooks in a month? Now, unfortunately, it's going to be just this particular kind of content.
Right.
And how much? How much of this content am I going to get that I'm really interested in? So I was fascinated, and I thought, good. I mean, whoever's doing it, whether it was Disney's idea or Marvel's idea, good for you guys, because if anybody can draw an audience, then it's you. So we'll see how it plays out.
I think it'll be fun to see.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
Jeff.
Jeff.
I think this is Marvel just dipping their toe into that space to see what kind of response they get, because this is a low barrier to entry for them. And if this proves popular enough, I think that we'll see them branching out and offering even more compelling content behind their paywall.
They could start making some of that part of Disney Plus. Maybe all they stream is audio.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not necessarily a video stream through Disney Plus. And one of the things that, so when they jack the price up another couple bucks a month, you're getting a bonus of all of this like high quality audio. One of the things that I forgot to mention about the Incomparable is that you get to listen to the live version of the podcast that's being recorded. Some of the shows you can hear them live, and then that like raw unpublished hunk of audio, you know, like this that we're doing, like Chuck, if you just dump this out for people to watch, you know, people who are members, then you know, you can hear like the initial edition, and then after you go back and like part it out and clean it up and stuff, then you know, the finished version is what regular people get, but you can hear it live and you get to hear all the like pre-show chatter and you know, the goofy stuff that we do before the show and after the show, and you know, that kind of stuff makes a difference. And I think that I wonder if there would be something like that that might appeal to Marvel in some way, on some like on This Week in Marvel, you know, and some of the other ones where they're sort of the newsy, updatey kind of shows and not the fiction, the audio fiction kinds of ones.
You know,
I'd be interested to see.
Now that you say that, Kelly, what I want to see is a new show where it's the unedited Ready Room interviews that Will Wheaton does after each Star Trek episode.
Mm-hmm.
I would pay for that in a heartbeat.
But Jeff, thank you, because that's exactly one of the things I was going to bring up. That this is, I'm not sure. Honestly, I think it started pre-pandemic, but it seemed to. In fact, I know it did, but it seemed to really gain a lot of traction. Where if something is released on a particular time or day, or if it's one of those that is broadcast in some fashion, that there would be these after shows. You know, like Will Wheaton's. I think there was one for the first episode of Star Trek, first season of Star Trek Discovery that was hosted by someone else. I know there was one for Mr. Robot.
Walking Dead had one.
Yeah,
they still have one. I don't know. I don't really.
Yeah, there's so much stuff out there, and so many opportunities for this additional content. You know that, I mean, and it's all competing with everything else. So I again, I thought it was really interesting. I'm anxious to see how this develops, whether it does develop or whether the plug gets pulled on it.
Well, you can look forward to Jeff and I's podcast about the Marvel podcasts, available in your favorite podcast app.
And then Jeff and Kelly will come on here on this podcast to talk about their podcast, talking about the other podcasts.
That is so meta. Yeah, Kelly,
meta.
I can be ready to record in 10 minutes. Or wait,
Okay.
when are we wrapping up here?
Well, if you guys want to do it, then this can be the behind the scenes of your new show. Okay.
My guess is we'd have to put an adult tag on it.
Yeah.
You guess.
Explicit.
I'm not guessing.
Oh, man.
Well, you know.
All right. The main, what was intended to be the main subject, but our last subject is the one that sort of is the obvious one, and that's iOS 15 and iPad OS 15 and iPad 15. How many people here have installed on a device?
Of course.
Okay, so
Yeah,
pretty much everybody
June.
Except me.
except you, Jim. You didn't. Okay, so
six.
you're the wild man. Why not?
I'm always slow. I'll probably do it sooner this year than I usually do, but a lot of times I wait months.
Well,
Okay.
for you, Jim, it doesn't have a big impact on your business. Whereas for like for me and for Andrew and Kelly, if we're not up to date with the latest of the latest, we can't talk about the stuff we need to talk about.
Yeah, that's true. I'm just worried that, the thing will break and then I won't have it, and like I use it to measure my blood sugar for my diabetes, so it would be really bad if the
That would be
phone didn't
bad.
work. But it seems like they've gotten pretty
Oh, and-
good at not breaking things.
In all fairness, the thing that's broken for me the most was 14.5. So, because that broke a lot of stuff. But
No,
yeah,
I just
no,
mean
that's
like
a
the
really good
phone
reason. I
will
was thinking
brick.
it was because you were a Mac guy.
Well,
Hmm?
I'm usually behind on upgrading my Macs too.
Well, so, and in some cases, there's some good reasons to, but-
Right.
but-
There are a lot of really good reasons to delay on the Mac a lot of the time.
Yeah, and I think it's also especially on iOS, because although Mac is now getting like this as well, that you can't go back, right?
There's no takebacks anymore.
There's no take backs. Well, there never have been on iOS. So
You could.
there's-
It was just kind of a pain in the neck, but you could.
Oh well, I never heard of anybody really
For a
successfully
minute.
doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we talked pre-show, Chuck, about 2 days later now, 15.1 beta 1's out, and come on, Apple, why did you release this this version of iOS 2 days after we want to get used to 15.0? Yes, of course, a .0 is always going to be the one that there's going to probably be some bugs, but then I think that's the quickest they've done it, at least in beta. So that's going to give people more reason, like Jim, to want to wait and not upgrade until at least the .1 version is in the public's hands.
Well, that wasn't the thing that bugged me about it. I guess it was the fact that the coverage out there on the Mac web is all about all the cool new features of 15,
Right?
and then they start interspersing articles with, well, this is now in 15.1. Now,
Right.
to their credit, they usually say 15.1 beta, but it's like, guys, just give it a rest. I mean, look, it's great that we have this accelerated rate of development, and that Apple's on top of it, and therefore, developers can be as well. But at some point, it's just like
And sort of to that point, I got an email from one of my customers that was having a problem running my software on Monterey. And he's like, come on, guys, Apple has released this, and,
Not yet.
well,
They haven't.
that's what I replied, but he didn't believe me. He was
I
like,
mean,
yes, they have.
Monterey was a month
that's
out on beta
because
7.
there's so much of this coverage, and people don't, see this distinction between, when it's really beta, and anybody can sign up for the beta, and so he was all bent out of shape that he was having a problem.
That's a bummer,
and-
dude.
well, and that's
Welcome
and
to
that's
my
ex-
life.
Yeah, but see, there's Jim representing the developer community, and this is exactly why we suggest people don't upgrade, or excuse me, don't run the betas, because things are broken, and if it's a week or 2 or 3 after, then okay, maybe it's time to contact the developer and say, hey, what are your plans? But I mean, Jim, you can speak to it a lot more about what it takes to get something up to speed when a new version of an OS comes out.
Well, it varies, but sometimes Apple breaks things.
Yeah.
And then you have to figure that out. It's not always on a major release either. Sometimes it can just be like some point release, and oops. No.
But that's
Okay,
that's sort of
we're
isn't that-
scrambling now.
that's sort of the nature of things, I think.
I feel like
And
it's gotten a lot less bad over time. I'm not saying it's better, but it's gotten less bad as people have gotten more involved in the public beta, because as more people try stuff, as more stuff breaks on more varieties of hardware, I feel like it makes the transition for everyone else a little smoother.
Yeah.
Jerks who email support when beta 0 is out, the day that the keynote happened, and that afternoon go, your crap doesn't work with the new beta, what's wrong with you? Those people aside, because I used to do a lot of tech support for a lot of people, and I have had to reply to that email on a lot more occasions than is proper for standard issue human behavior. But here we are. So that said, like, if you take the jerks that email people like Jim, who are lovely developers and don't deserve that kind of grief and heartache, out of the equation, for the most part, people who install and go, this thing didn't work, or that thing didn't work, and aren't mad about it, and just go like, this is like, when I click here, it turns off my computer, even though the thing I clicked on is not the thing that says turn off my computer. And here you go. Here's some feedback about it. If you can get that stuff out in the world on all kinds of hardware and with all combinations of software and monitors hooked up and all kinds of stuff, it makes it a lot easier to roll that out on a much wider scale. I do sometimes feel a lot more comfortable advising people to upgrade much sooner than I used to, because a lot of the huge gotcha stuff that we saw in earlier versions of macOS, in macOS 10, are not things that that there's not a lot of that we have seen in later updates and things like that. Like, it has gotten smoother over time. Is it smooth? No. Is it less bumpy than it used to be because regular users don't spend quite as much time crashing headfirst into the rough edges of the software that just came out? Yes.
Yeah.
Earlier today I was talking to a friend of mine and I heard the best wild tech support story ever. Can I take a minute and tell it? It's worth it. It's great.
Yeah, let's all get our popcorn. Tell us the story, Jim.
It's worth popcorn. So this guy, he got a call, and this guy's complaining. He says, I bought your software, and now whenever I stick a disk in my computer, this was in the days of floppies, it immediately ejects. And like your software broke the ROM in my computer. This is back in really early days, and they were like, that's not possible. And the guy was like, well, can I say I bought your software, and now this is what happens. So fortunately, they weren't able to help him, and fortunately the guy did figure it out and actually called back and explained what happened. So apparently he had an extra mouse connected to this computer, and he had some books on it, and he took the manual for the new software and he put it on the top of the pile, and that was enough that the mouse was permanently clicked.
Oh Lord.
And I was like, yeah, Rick, your software did cause this computer to eject disk every time. It was totally your fault.
Fashion.
It was your documentation that caused the ejection. Yeah.
That was
a worthwhile story, wasn't it?
That's why Apple doesn't ship manuals, says Brittany. That's a good idea.
That's good point, Brittany.
I once got a call from someone who said, I was doing printer support, and they said, I'm calling because I need a floppy disk. And I was surprised. I said, well, if you just bought it, like, there should have been a floppy disk in the box. Well, all of everything in the manual says that there's a floppy disk, and there's a disk in the box, but it's hard plastic. It's not flexible at all. And I need the floppy because everything refers to the floppy, and the floppy is what you need to send me. So.
Yeah, we could tell tech support stories.
So
all day
anytime anybody
it's
ever says,
amazing.
Anytime anyone ever wants to tell a story about people, like, I have at least 5 more stories like that one that I can tell you about. This is what you have to be aware of with the kind of things that when you are trying to explain something to people. David probably has the same.
Oh yeah.
So.
Oh, well, sure.
Does it mean you should get to be a jerk about it to Jim because you're the dipstick that installed Monterey? No. Does it mean you should maybe send Jim an email and a couple of screenshots and maybe a build number and go, this is what's up. It happens every time. Thought you'd want to know? Yes. That makes you a favorite, and people will look forward to email from you. But yeah.
Yeah.
There are nice people too. No question.
Oh, sure.
Yes.
Sure.
Of course.
I've spoken with both of them.
Yeah. Brittany, did you have any trouble installing anything or any of the iOS 15s that you installed, or any of the
back at the beginning of June? No, actually, it went pretty smooth.
The iOS 15s you've installed.
No, I mean, did you install anything just yesterday, today?
No, I can't, because in the rare case that you are a ridiculous human being whose entire life is run by shortcuts embedded in within within other shortcuts that then have third-party actions that happen in them.
Which are all
They don't
contained
run
in
on iOS
shortcuts.
15. Other than that, the beta has been beautifully stable. So if you're not a huge shortcut person, it's actually been glorious. My phone's hot, but other than that, it's been great. But no, I still need a device that runs shortcuts, which means my iPad has to stay on 14.
Okay. Andrew, how
I
about
haven't
you?
even thought to check all of my shortcuts. I wonder what's not working.
Jeff
So
will be
It was
back.
really
in-
validating when Matthew Castanelli validated that he was like, oh, no, this is a bug. This is my feedback number. And I could just duplicate it.
Did you guys see the story that ran around earlier this week about how a security researcher killed everyone's shared shortcuts months ago?
They were
Yes.
restored.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's just that he
Stories.
got the story late because he couldn't share it before then.
yeah.
Yeah. But I knew about the problem at the time because
Well, obviously, like hundreds of thousands of people knew about it at the time, but I don't
Yeah.
think people realized that someone actually caused it.
yeah.
Yeah, and it was just the shared shortcuts, as I recall.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, he
Right.
he broke into Apple's server and was experimenting with it, and he assumed that Apple's security was going to stop him, and he thought he would get an error message. So he's like, "Oh, what if I say delete all?" That didn't give me an error message. That's weird.
And that's why Andrew and I still have a show on Friday.
Exactly.
I mean,
Exactly.
I'm glad that he shared what happened with Apple so that they could fix it, and Apple, after they changed their pants, got right on fixing it.
And they asked him not to. Please stop experimenting with that system until we tell you.
Yeah. But they did reward him too.
Yeah,
Like
they
that
did.
was still good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
I would like
we were
to-
paranoid that it was that they were getting rid of that feature. Like we didn't know why it wasn't working because Apple
Right.
didn't tell you stuff. We were just like, so what are we gonna do? Because a lot of people were using that for their backup system. Using those shared links, and some people have published libraries of shortcuts, and that was the real issue. So when they did release a patch, it was good.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it wasn't just a patch. There was some more that they had to scramble to restore backups and then merge that with whatever new
fix
changes.
they did, we were relieved.
This is why it's important to have backups, people.
Yes. And
So we're gonna
you
do
know,
the password and the backup rant in the same show.
well, and I
in this
think
No,
case,
we're
it's
just gonna joke
Apple that
about-
has to do the backup.
We're gonna joke about all the backups being on tapes.
well, and I will do a rant. I'll rant about somebody breaking into Apple servers and experimenting. It's very nice that Apple rewarded him. I'd like to reward him, all right, with a one-way ticket to Siberia.
We didn't think it would work.
What are you
Yeah.
talking about?
I don't-
He uncovered a problem.
It's Apple's
Yeah.
fault. It's not his
It
fault.
was an accident, he said.
Mhm.
Well, yeah, but
That's
if
what
you- if-
security researchers do.
I have a real problem with that. I have a real problem with that. I just, if you're in there, if Apple asks you to do it, that's one thing. But if somebody is in there playing around with something they aren't supposed to be playing around with, or they're in somewhere they shouldn't be, and then they mess
No.
up my problems or
That's the
my
whole
stuff.
point of the bug bounty program.
Yeah.
It's to have more people out there finding the flaws that are the kind of people who will report it.
Yeah, it's
I
much
get
better
that.
than it wasn't somebody. What if it was somebody that didn't report it and just kept doing it, or
Malicious.
It's,
yeah.
it's how it's supposed to
Yeah,
work.
oh yeah. But I mean, from what Jim said, and I don't remember the article enough, he said that he broke into Apple servers. Okay, stop right there. That's enough. Siberia.
that's what security researchers do.
They try to break into Apple servers.
Oh, yeah.
Not
Lots
just,
of things.
Not just
or
Apple,
Microsoft's,
but yeah,
or
Yeah.
Exxon's, or whatever.
Well, then they better be darn competent and not mess things up. I mean, if he was able to break into Apple servers right there, that's where you stop and say, fix this. I'm sorry, but
I want them
I-
to keep doing it. That's how we find out these things, is when somebody who's the kind of person who reports it finds it.
Says the lady who just had is worried about having her shortcuts broken.
Well, yeah. Also, Apple's problem to fix. But mine's not a security issue. I mean, it was frustrating when it happened, but what happened was Apple found out there was a problem. Like, and then it was more secure.
Struggling.
Yeah, and if you look at the sequence, you can see why he assumed that this wasn't going to do anything. There are people out there that are malicious that are trying to cause trouble, and people like this are the ones that are getting in there and finding problems so that they can be fixed before the malicious people get in there.
Andrew, did you have any trouble installing the updates?
I did raise my hand earlier, but I don't count. I've been running the iOS beta all along, iOS 15 beta. I did encounter some small bugs, including, as Brittany said, there were some things I encountered with shortcuts. But all in all, to me, it seems like these are getting more stable each year. And I don't think people, or at least I haven't seen any reports of people having these massive device breaking bugs that they've had maybe in the past.
You mean like the system update that Jeff installed where he couldn't make phone calls anymore?
That was a hoot.
Yeah.
Kelly, I know exactly where I was when I sent a message to you saying you're not going to believe what just happened.
And I know exactly where I was when I got it too. Oh no. Let me see if I can help you route around this kind of damage. Yep.
So in the chat room, there's some discussion of the different upgrades. Brad says my old Apple TV 3rd generation got an update too. And I'm with David. I didn't know they were updating that far back.
Wow.
So,
Yeah, I didn't either.
Good. Yeah. David, how about you? I know you were running a lot of betas, but so am I the only, let me rephrase the question maybe.
You are.
So did anybody not running betas go through the upgrade process and have any issues?
Oh, no issues.
Well, I'll mention. Yeah, if you don't mind, Jeff. I'll mention that I decided to run the release candidate. I don't generally put it on my production devices, but I knew it was near finished, and I said no. I made a decision. Go ahead, let's install it. So I had release candidate on. I know release candidate was a little buggy, but it wasn't too bad for me. So then the official release came out, of course, on Monday, but the release candidate wouldn't update because there was another version once the final version came out. So I decided I would decide to take it off beta. So I removed the profile, but then both the iPad and the iPhone updated to its current version now because it wasn't going to update well if you were still on release candidate for obvious reasons, because then 15.1 would have just went ahead and installed 2 days later. So, which I wasn't feeling comfortable doing that. But beyond that, the install went pretty smooth. It wasn't too terribly hard to do. The good thing was on being in the release candidate, the update was only a very small install, like about 450 megabytes versus, the full update was like 1.5 or 2 gigabytes. So that those did tend to take longer. And like I mentioned in the chat out there is the watch stayed the same, which was unusual. Usually they do an update on that. But yeah, I update everything across the board, and I know Jeff has lots of posts in social media about his woes, and I'm sure he'd like to share as well.
Whoa, ways, Jeff.
Well, I have a question really quick for everybody that was not betaing who has installed the updates. I went to upgrade, and it seemed like it downloaded really quick, and then preparing update took about a week and a half.
Yeah, it was slow.
Give or take. And that's on phone, iPad, Apple TV, watch. All of them were like let me go download that. And I'm like, okay, it's going to be a while. And then it was like, okay, I'm done downloading. I'm like, awesome. Like, it turns out this maybe wasn't a very big update. All right. And then preparing update was just civilizations rose and fell before I got iOS 15 upgraded. So it was weird.
Kelly, I think some of that, this is just me, but I think some of that may have been a case where the update may have already been downloaded unless you specifically had that turned off. Because I know I had one device that I had exactly your experience, and another device that I know was had not downloaded the update. So I think it may have been sitting there just waiting for you to hit it and then the preparing.
But preparing still took like 150 years. And that was the part that I was sort of surprised about, because I don't remember preparing taking quite that long in the past. I remember it like installing for a long time, but I don't remember preparing being a thing that took quite as long as it actually did. So that was the thing I wanted to ask about, was if that was similar for other people. I do have it set to download, but then not install until I say install.
So there you go. Yeah. Jeff, what woes did you have?
Well, let's start with iPhone and iPad. Installing there went fine. And preparing did seem to take longer than I expected on both, but you know, whatever, I lived through that. Where I had trouble was with my Apple Watch. And you know, Apple Watch updates are always notoriously slow. And I mean, at least they're not like a full day commitment like they were with the OG Apple Watch. But still, you'd think that would be a smoother process now at this point in the game. So I'm still rocking a Series 4 Apple Watch, and I haven't had any problems with it. Did the started the update process on the watch, and once it got far enough into the process where it was actually like really doing something, pretty soon my phone said, okay, your watch is up to date. And so I take a look at my watch sitting in its charger. It is not up to date. It's just like barely started the process. You know, you get the little ticks going around.
Right.
And I know that you can have a thing where your phone says, yeah, it's done, but your watch is still going to spend some time doing its thing. No, this was like it had just barely begun, and it took a long time. Long enough that I started to get worried that the install had failed and I had a bricked watch. Turns out, no, I did not have a bricked watch, and I did finally get my my watch back up and running. I have, however, had a new problem since installing watchOS 8, and my Apple Watch stops responding. Like the buttons are dead, the screen is dead, but the watch is still working because my iPhone knows it's there and can communicate with it. And if I take my watch off and put it on the charger, my phone immediately shows that the watch is charging. So it's alive and it's working, but at the same time, it's not working. And I had that happen once yesterday, and eventually the watch just came back to life. And I've had it 4 times today, and I cannot figure out if there's anything that I'm doing. It's just at some point I'll go to look at my watch and the screen's black, and I tap and the screen's black. I push buttons and the screen's black. So
what series watch? If you said it, Jeff, I missed it.
Series 4.
Series 4. Okay.
Did you try resetting it?
Yes. And
so
I
it's
still have my problem.
You're making me glad I haven't updated.
Basically, it's a brick.
Well, it's a sometimes brick. Like right now, right now it's working.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
But you know, there are 4 instances today where it was not working.
It's Schrodinger's watch.
It's yes, I have Schrodinger's watch.
Maybe a watch, maybe a brick. We'll never know until we try to tell the time.
Mm-hmm. And right now,
at least it'll be right twice a day.
Isn't she cute?
Black is not
All
right
right.
twice a day.
And with that, Brittany's going to drop that mic and leave.
Yeah,
I
unfortunately,
can't. My sister-in-law will kill me.
that's going to be the last comment Brittany gets to make because she does have to go. And no, I am not throwing her out. So, Brittany, thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate it. Where can folks find more of your work?
On Twitter, I'm ADD Liberator. Same on YouTube. And my website is conquer.consulting.
Great.
And that's what I got.
Thanks so much. You've shared in the chat, in our private chat, what you're doing. So it's a good cause. Go for it.
Yeah, I'm gonna feed my skinny nephew.
And confirm.
Thank you, Brittany.
All right, thanks for having me.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.
Hi, Brittany.
Well, I got to tell you, it's been one of those days for a lot of different reasons. I updated my phone, and like Kelly said, it took a little while, but it took longer than I expected, but it wasn't horrible, especially, I had other things to do. I upgraded one of my iPads, and that went pretty smoothly. Again, maybe that seemed to go a little bit faster, which surprised me. And so I still have a few other devices to go. I've not had a chance to do the watch. Based on what Jeff just said, I think that may be an overnight project.
You got the 6, so you might.
I've
be
got
okay.
the 6.
I did the 6. It was fine.
Was it okay?
Yeah. And,
So-
for all I know, the problem that I'm experiencing, the problems that I have experienced as well, are isolated. It's not like I'm seeing angry mob of Apple Watch Series 4 owners taking to social media with digital pitchforks.
Yeah.
Right.
I have a Series 4 as well, and I haven't noticed that. But I'm going to keep an eye out because it's possible it's a thing that I just wasn't really noticing. I did, now that you say, like, here's this kind of weird thing that happened. I had 2 phone calls today where I was talking to somebody, and all of a sudden I stopped being able to hear them. They were still on the phone, and they could hear me, but I couldn't hear them anymore. And yeah, and it was a weird feeling to hang up on my mom. So because she called me back and said, "You hung up on me." I said, "I couldn't hear you." And she said, "I know, but I kept saying I was here and you hung up on me anyway." And I'm like, "I didn't mean to." So yeah, it was weird.
If you can't hear someone saying that they're there,
yeah,
it's like Schrodinger's mom.
Schrodinger's mom is no, I'm not. But it was a couple of different phone calls. I rebooted my phone. Nobody's called me since, so I have yet to be able to test this theory. But it may have just been like rebooting or something. It just needed one more restart after I got all the after I got the update finished up installing, and maybe that's all it was. I don't know. But also nobody's called me since I installed it yesterday, and these were the 2 phone calls I got today, and so that's it. So well, 2 of the 3, but one of the other ones worked, and it was from an Android phone.
Well, I intentionally waited until as we record this afternoon, because I wanted to see, to Jeff's point, if there were a lot of widespread reports of any problems, and I really haven't seen much. I mean, there are the occasional issues like Jeff went through, but nothing that caused me to say, I think I'll wait a little bit, because I've the beta, all the betas from everything you all have said on here and everything else I've read have been pretty darn stable for the most part. So I felt pretty good. Usually I would wait a little while, but I felt pretty good about this one.
Yeah, even with the problems that I'm having with my watch right now, I still feel pretty good about these updates, especially since we have so many people that were running watchOS betas all through this process and have not been seeing any real problems. If there'd been lots of reports about issues, I would have been hesitant on my production devices to do the updates, but I thought I rush in where angels fear to tread, and this time it doesn't look like the angels are that scared. Yeah. Now the updates that took much longer than I expected were HomePods.
Yeah.
My HomePod minis seemed to update very quickly. And then my OG HomePod, it took forever. Like, I eventually lost track of time. It was taking that long. I just periodically go and look at the home app and I'm like, seriously, this is still going.
So
Yeah,
you
it
did
took me a while.
you did the manual upgrade.
Oh yeah, of course I
Okay.
did. I didn't wait for it to do its thing. It's
Okay.
like, yep, this is out. All
Wait.
right, I'm just going down the line and everything that can be updated is.
So do I have to
So-
do something? I never had HomePods and an upgrade at the same time. So do I have to do something?
No, it'll eventually
make it
update on
upgrade?
its own. But if
How do I
you
tell?
want, launch the home app.
Where's my phone?
Let's see if I can do this straight from memory.
It's
Okay.
under my yarn. Sorry.
Understandable. All right, so launch the home app.
It happened.
Now tap the home icon in the upper left hand corner.
Okay.
Now tap settings.
Yeah.
Shut up about what's new.
and
Okay,
then
wait. I need the house.
Yep, tap the house in the
Yeah.
upper left hand corner.
Okay. And then
Settings.
Home settings.
Home settings.
Oh, home settings. Okay. Home settings. Okay.
See, I'm doing pretty good from memory. Okay, now scroll down and you'll see an option for updates.
Software update.
Software
There we go.
update
Software
automatic.
update.
HomePod will be updated automatically.
Go ahead
Yep.
and tap on that and see if you can.
Update available. Update all.
There we go. Now go ahead and tap that, and it'll force the update to run.
Could
And
not
the
complete
nice-
operation.
Oh,
Wait.
Except for you.
the nice thing
well,
was,
it's letting
Go
me
ahead.
do one. Maybe the other ones are done already. Maybe it just hadn't reloaded the screen yet.
Yeah, could be.
Oh, I was wrong. Could not update kitchen HomePod. Screw you, kitchen HomePod.
Are you too
the
far
nice
away
thing
from
was
it?
I have both of them. I have HomePod Mini in pair, and I have the HomePod in pair, and I was able to run the update, and it took care of both at the same time.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, you tap the
But it
update once, and it just goes through your whole stock of HomePods and updates everything for you.
well,
Yeah.
it said it couldn't, but now it's like spinning the thing like it's doing it. So
Yeah.
Oh,
I
okay.
think I have Schrodinger's HomePod.
That's
Yeah, it's doing the download or it's preparing to install.
That's what I
the-
experienced.
Emotionally. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Jeff, I'm sorry, I forgot. I did update my HomePods, and my perception is that the Yes Lady is faster on my big HomePod. Because
Yeah.
I've been struggling with that for a little while. It's like she either can't do something or she takes forever just to set a 2-minute timer.
end up
and
rebooting.
and now, yeah, and now all of a sudden, she's very responsive.
Yes, I did notice a problem though that I didn't have prior to HomePod Software 15, which is the S Lady on the HomePod seems less intelligent when dealing with some commands in context. So, for example, if I have music playing on the HomePod and I have a timer running on the same HomePod, and I say, "Hey, S Lady, pause." That up until iOS 15 has consistently paused to the music, which is what I want to pause. Why would I want to pause the timer? Stuff in the oven's going to burn if I do that. And now it pauses the timer and not the music. So I have to explicitly say, "Hey, S Lady, pause the music."
Interesting.
Does anybody happen to know what we get out of the HomePod update? One thing I thought I saw, and it only stuck out in my mind because I just found the shortcut that makes this easier, is that if you talk to her quietly, she will talk to you quietly instead of you talk to her quietly, and then she answers you like this.
Yeah,
I think I've heard that.
yeah. There's
But what else? Do we know anything else about what comes to the HomePods in that? I don't know.
Not right
That's
off.
why I'm asking. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's some articles out there but
Yeah.
I mean,
And I only
there's
know
so-
that because I found that shortcut like a week ago. And so
Yeah,
I was like very excited to find it. And then I found out I'm not going to need it once everything goes to 15. So
well,
yeah, there's so-
one thing that I noticed changed after the update and after WatchOS 8 is that if music is playing on my HomePods, I will get on-screen controls for that on my Apple Watch now.
Oh.
That's interesting.
Now, there's a new HomeKit thing where you can assign times, like time limits to how long something happens. Like you can say, hey, us lady, turn off the lights in 10 minutes.
Oh.
But I haven't messed with that yet. And
because one thing I always said I wanted was I don't want a reminder when I get home. I want a reminder for 5 minutes after I get home, and that never worked. But I don't need it when I like pull into the driveway. I need it when I get into the house.
yeah, there's a thing where you can adjust the bass level on the HomePod now. So
Oh, I did see that because somebody said like, oh, good. Now I don't have to worry about bothering my neighbors with the bass level on my home. And I'm like, were you really bothering them before? Like, if you weren't Andrew, are you really bothering them before?
Are you talking about having your HomePod automatically play some Star Wars theme song when you get in the room?
I am not.
yeah.
I should be, but I'm not.
That
Okay.
surprised me a bit.
So it's a setting now. So in the Home app, if you tap and hold on one of your HomePods,
Mhm.
it brings up all the info about what it's currently playing or what it's doing, whatever. And then you scroll down and you get to all the settings. And one of the settings is reduce bass.
Oh, okay. Why would you?
It's in the
reduce it?
music and podcast section, right under allow explicit content, which is turned on, of course.
Why would you want to turn off the? Anyway, the
I
bass.
put-
I mean the bass.
I put the article in our chat.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, of course, there's an article about it.
I want the command. I want the command to turn the bass up so I can disturb the neighbors.
That's right.
Yes.
Why
That
don't you
is
just
my
leave the bass
goal.
down all
I
the
mean-
time,
Boom,
except for when you
boom,
want to
boom.
disturb the neighbors, and then you're turning it up.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
Hey,
strange.
lady,
That's strange.
let's let the neighbors enjoy some 808 State.
So we got to get out of here. We're over time, but Brad gets the last word in the chat room. He says to Jeff, "Time for a newer Apple Watch, Jeff." Pun intended.
Yeah. It's if I
I see what you
wasn't
did there, Brad.
jonesing for that new
Get out.
iPad mini, it would be a lot easier to justify getting a new Apple Watch.
Understood.
But
It's kind of nice that we were able to leave the iOS, iPad OS updates, the HomePod, to the end, so that it just shows that we didn't have that much to talk about it.
There's lots to talk about. Just the why go to the details. There's when so much of it's already out there.
Well, I was thinking more, David, the installation. I mean, I don't think any of us are far enough into 15,
Right?
Except for you, those of you that have been running it since June or whatever. Brittany had, installed it. But it just the idea that my big thing was, how has the upgrade gone? And so if you're out there and you're on the bubble, take a shot at it. Maybe one device at a time, but take a shot at it.
Yep.
So, let's go around the room for the people that are still here and see where we can find you. And I'm going to reverse it this time. I'm going to go from the bottom up. So Andrew, that gives you top billing. Where can folks find you?
You can find me at themacobserver.com. Well, MacObserver, MacObserver.com. I think I said that right. I'm writing about Apple and security and privacy and all this iOS 15 stuff. And Kelly and I do a podcast about security every Friday where we talked about some of the stuff we talked about before, like passwords and data breaches and all that fun stuff. And then my Twitter handle is @AndrewOrNot.
Excellent. Thank you, Andrew. Thanks for being here and for briefing us on a couple of the security things we talked about earlier. Mr. Jim Ray, please, folks, don't email Jim with your problems until the Mac OS version
With your
is actually
software
out
problems.
live.
Email him about all the rest of your problems, but not your software problem.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I hear he gives great love life advice. Yeah.
Oh, hold on, Jim. I have to send you an email.
Wow.
Yeah.
I am looking forward to it.
If Jeff's
Uh,
email has attachments, delete it.
Yeah.
Oh no, there's going to be diagrams.
Oh my gosh.
I've never loved you more,
We
Jeff.
gone.
Jim, where can folks find you?
I'd better not say.
Oh, you heard about the flow chart I was going to attach. Didn't
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
They're finding me anyway, so proview.com. Send your cards and letters. And also Twitter, ProviewJim, PROVUE.
great. Thank you, Jim. Good to have you. As always, thanks for bringing the developer's perspective to some of these shenanigans, I think is the proper phrase. Kelly Gamont, where can we find you?
Admit nothing. Oh, wait. You can find me 5 days a week over at the Mac Observer, where I do the Daily Observations podcast. On Fridays, it's with Andrew. We do Secure Your Stuff Friday over there. And we talk about a lot of other topics too, depending on the news of the day. And gosh, the rest of the time, I do the After Show podcast with Mike Rose. You can find us at aftershowpodcast.com. You can find me over on the Incomparable Network, where I have my own show, I Want My MCU TV, that Chuck mentioned earlier. And we talk about the latest show that is airing on Disney Plus that is MCU related. And I occasionally appear on Football is Life, which is the Incomparable podcast about Ted Lasso. And you can find that at veranisports.co.uk, which is an advertisement from the middle of the show that Apple didn't bother to register the domain name for. So you can find Football is Life podcast over there. The rest of the time, you can find me kind of here, there, and everywhere. At some point, I'm going to be back on In Touch with iOS with David.
Yes.
Jeff and I are going to get up to some kind of shenanigan at some point in the future. I can feel it. And the rest of the time, you can find me on Twitter as Verso.
Great. Thank you.
And before
Kelly.
we
Thank-
leave, I want to point out Brittany has a video over on her YouTube channel about focus modes. So, and the point of her videos is to make things very approachable for people who aren't necessarily the most technical. So if you are watching this show and you don't feel like explaining focus modes to the people you do tech support for in your family and friend circles, you can just send them Brittany's video. And I will make sure that Chuck has a link to that.
Excellent. Thank you, Kelly. Thanks
She
for
wasn't
being
here to
here.
promote
thanks
it,
for
and
that.
I want to make sure that she gets
Oh,
because she
yeah.
spent time making sure it works. So yeah, there you go.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Mr. Gammett, other than getting up to shenanigans with Kelly, which is really a disturbing picture, where can folks
You've
find
been
you?
there for a fair number of those shenanigans, Chuck.
I can draw
You
you
can
pictures,
cast
Chuck.
no aspersions on that.
Yeah. No pictures, no flow charts. Just please.
And Chuck, just remember, deny everything, make counter accusations, demand video proof.
There it is.
and be deathly afraid if you get the video proof. Where can we find you, Jeff?
That's when you have to regroup. Yeah. Okay. You can
Because if
find
it
me
came
on
from your doorbell camera, I mean,
yeah. Yeah. Okay. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram. I am Jay Gammett both places. My YouTube channel, youtube.com/Jay Gammett. And let's see, here on Tuesdays, MacVoices Live. Thursdays, The Big Show. Fridays, The Mac Show. Quite often, I have the pleasure of getting to be on In Touch with iOS on Thursday evenings. And I've been doing a few episodes of Apple Context Machine with Brian Chaffin. So I pop up there occasionally too. I get around.
Excellent. Thank you, Jeff. It's always a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
It's always fun.
Last but not least, the guy who will be managing some of the chats at MacStock this weekend, at least as we record this, it's this weekend, David
Yes.
Ginsburg. Other than in the chats at MacStock, where can folks find you?
Well, you can find me at In Touch with iOS at intouchwithios.com. I will have, I don't know if it's the pleasure or maybe not so much with Guy Searle joining me actually in person. You'll be here in my palatial studio, as you're seeing here, and we'll be doing a in-person episode of In Touch with iOS, which I'm actually kind of excited. Don't get to do in-person episodes very often, so that'll be fun. YouTube channel is youtube.com/DaveG65. Find me on the Mac Show on Fridays, and you also can find me on Twitter at DaveG65. Thank you so much, Chuck.
Thank you, David. We'll see you virtually on Saturday.
Yes, virtually on MacStock.
Yes.
Be there.
And then after that, Guy doing an in-person interview with David that'll cure David of any desire that he has to do in-persons ever again. Yeah.
And dinners and hanging out. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Oh, this is not going to end well, folks. This is not going to end well.
Yes.
If David is not managing the chats at MacStock this weekend, you'll know what happened.
Yeah, exactly.
Chat room, thank you. Brad, you especially were very vocal tonight. Webb, you slipped in a couple good ones too. Appreciate all of your comments and always glad to have you all there.
We love you, chat room.
Yes, we all do. Thank you. Good point, Kelvin. With that, this is MacVoices Live, Tuesdays at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, whatever time it is, wherever you are. We'd love to have you join us too, so you can throw comments in the chat room at us and make us smile, make us laugh, make us shake our fists at you, whatever. Until the next time, and as always, I'm Chuck Joyner. Thanks for watching. Thank you, guys.
That's fun.
Yeah, that was
It
fun.
was so much fun.
That was fun. I had no idea we were going to take off
It
on the
was.
website or on the password things that much. But God,
But you had Andrew and Kelly, and you said passwords. Like it was kind of going to happen at least a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I read that at dinner, and I mean, fortunately, I was not at a bar because I think I'd have had to get a drink because, like, in today. But then again, to be fair, the number of people I see around me who, it's I'm not going to. I almost said one of them, but it's their three initials and the year they graduated. What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I mean, just
I know.
there's so
Well,
many.
I
schemes.
know.
Go ahead.
That is one of the things we say on Security Friday now is here's the news that's going to make you want to drink this weekend.
Yeah. Or Andrew will be like, Germany bought this unbelievable piece of spyware. And I'm like, sleep tight, everybody. Yeah.
They totally did. Oh my God.
And it's not alarming in any way. So yeah, it is kind of rough.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, but after we figured out that I didn't actually hang up on my mom, I was talking to my mom because my in-laws 50th anniversary is this weekend, so we're having a big party for them.
Wow.
And
Oh, nice.
and so my mom said, well, good luck with the party. And I said, well, you can see me on Find My Friends, so if I'm at the liquor store, you'll know it didn't go well. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. So I just wanted to tell you guys, there was somebody that replied to one of the Security Friday show posts that go out through the Daily Observations Twitter account, and somebody like quote tweeted it and was like, love Verso and Andrew or not, and secure your shit Friday. And so I really want to call it that now, but I can't because we don't have so now that it's not like officially Showtime, I just wanted to share it with you guys because that's why I call it that. His name is Nate, and he lives actually in Portland somewhere. And at some point, we're gonna go have coffee. And it was just really funny because he's like, secure your shit Friday, and I was like, that is such a better name, and I can't use it, and it's not fair.
No, Kelly, sometimes life just is not fair.
No,
it's not. I know. Speaking of, it's been kind of a lot of chaos at Shea Verso. My dad had triple bypass surgery this week.
Oh, Kelly.
So, yeah. So last week, after when we were talking, it was right after I had talked to my dad, and he was like, yeah, I'm going into the hospital to see, to I have to go to Boise to see what's going on. And it's not great when your dad is an honored citizen and has to go to Idaho and spend time in a hospital.
Where COVID's rampant.
Yeah. Because it's not real in Idaho.
Right.
So
Well, that's lucky.
I was kind of glad. So very on brand for my dad when he called me initially and said, the doctor says I have to go see a specialist. He said, after he told me I couldn't play golf anymore, I figured it was important enough. I was going to have to call you and tell you what was going on. So I just want you to know that's 100% on brand for my dad. That's exactly how he operates. So he was like, yeah, something might happen. And then they were thinking, maybe he was just going to have a stent, I guess. But they got in there last week, and it ended up being not a stent, but in fact a triple bypass. So he's been recovering, and he gets to go home tomorrow. And like getting to sit with you guys last week and laugh at stuff, and getting to sit with you this week and laugh at stuff has been really nice. And I just want to let all of you know how much I appreciate that. And
big hugs.
This might get a little misty, but but like it helps a lot that I have the opportunity to get to still hang out with my friends, and get to not think about that for a couple of minutes at a time.
Yeah.
And so getting to have like an hour in a row of like weapons grade geekery where we can just talk about stuff and enjoy things and have a good time and laugh at things has been appreciated since initial lockdown, but has been extra appreciated the last couple of weeks. So I just want to let you know, and I didn't want to drag the show to a screeching halt in the middle of everything.
No, this
out there.
This show has brought us all together.
So I just wanted to tell you guys, like that's been extra helpful, and it's been a thing that I have looked forward to even more the last couple of weeks for that reason. So thanks.
He's in a hospital in Idaho?
Yeah, he's in Boise until tomorrow.
Oh, so you can't see him.
No. It's about 3 hours from La Grande to Boise, and it's about 4.5 to 5 hours, depending on the weather, from my house to La Grande. So it's a commitment to head that direction.
It's a long drive.
So,
My dad had that twice in 1977 or 78, and then in the 90s, and it changed a lot. Even from like when he had it the first time, it was like 2 weeks in the hospital.
Yeah.
And now it's like way less than that.
Yeah, like a day or two after, they said like he was getting up and walking around with help.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's amazing what the advances that they've made.
Yeah.
I mean, not Kelly, don't misunderstand. I am absolutely not minimizing anything that's happened.
No, it's way better than it used to be. If he had to have this even 10 years ago, it would have been a very, very different situation.
Were they able to do it laparoscopically, or did they have to break his ribs? Or do you know?
That I don't know. I'm just getting updates.
If he's going home that fast, probably they didn't have to. It used to be they always did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
I think this may have been laparoscopic. I'm hoping so anyway. That would explain why he gets to come. And he doesn't have to go home in an ambulance or anything. Like his wife gets to drive him home in the car. So it can't be all that bad. And then there's like in-home care that's going to come by a couple of days, 2 or 3 days a week, depending how he's doing, and maintain with that. So yeah.
Wow, that's great. I'm so glad that he's doing so well.
Yeah. And all of her kids live there. My dad's wife, his previous wife, I called stepmom, and it didn't work out. So I don't call the new one stepmom. She's just my dad's wife. So there's a reason. Yeah.
Good call.
Yes. Well, actually, it's because I started calling her step monster, and that was about a year and a half.
I was just gonna say step monster.
Yeah, and then my dad heard me say that one time and leaned around the wall and went, Kelly, and then went back in the kitchen, but he didn't really give me any shit about it. So that was kind of when I knew they were those days were numbered.
He didn't need to. He didn't need to say much more than that.
No, give you shit about that.
I think at that point the writing was on the wall. Yeah, she filed for divorce on my 18th birthday, so I got independence from all kinds of things. It's kind of nice.
Wow! Happy birthday!
Yeah, I still
Happy freaking birthday.
To this day, I don't know if it was intentional. I don't know if she meant to do that or if it just worked out that way. So anyway, But the new one, like she has 3 daughters that are all married and have families and stuff, and all live there in La Grande where my dad lives. So, like it's not like they're going home and have like no support system or anything like that. So I don't have to worry so much about making sure that both of them are being taken care of, because I know somebody's going to make sure that my dad's wife gets to take some time for herself and not have to be caring for him 24/7 and that kind of thing. So I feel a lot better about it. But I did get to actually talk to my dad today for a couple of minutes, and he sounds
Good.
yeah, he sounds like he had a breathing tube for a couple of days, because he did, but but for the most part, like he still sounds like himself, so that was good. So he's doing better. Yeah.
Dear.
So Kelly,
Yes,
I
Chuck.
think you just may have cost me money.
By telling
I
you
just-
about my dad's triple bypass.
Because you just gave me
Instance.
you just gave me a great name for a new podcast, and weaponsgradegeekery.com is available.
Another domain.
Another
Get
domain.
the crap out of that right now, Chuck.
What, Jeff?
Buy the crap out of that right now.
I mean,
Well,
that could
That's
Network.
the Kelly and Jeff shenanigans. We're
That
going to
could
be on the MacVoices network. Shenanigans with Jeff and Kelly.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, but Weapons Grade Geekery is a really good name.
Goes along with your American Tech Network in your catalog.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. I'll probably get a call from the FBI. Now, what's this Weapons Grade Geekery that you're referring to? And is
I
it
did-
domestic or
Chuck,
international?
remember, deny everything.
Deny
make
everything.
Your accusations, demand
Yeah.
video proof.
Demand video
Proof.
proof.
Jeez.
I went on, speaking of great names, I was on a podcast called The Menu Bar, which was fantastic. And they had like a bed, not bed music, but they had like a bed track that sounded like a bar, which was super great. But I was on there and I talked on there about being a weapons grade cheerleader, because I like to enable people and encourage everybody to do like the thing it is that they want to do or whatever. And I talked about doing that for App Camp for Girls, and how App Camp was really important to me and why it mattered, and why I thought what we were doing was something that the world needed, and why I thought that it was helpful. And like 2 days after the episode aired, I got a text from the executive director of App Camp who said, "What did you do?" And I said, I don't know what you're talking about. And she said, "Well, we've had like $2,000 in donations in the last 2 days. And
Oh, wow.
I'm assuming you are why." And I'm like, maybe. And so I went and looked, and sure enough. And then she said, and then she said, like, "What's a menu bar?" or something like that. And I'm like, why? And she's like, "Most of this stuff says it's because of the menu bar that they are donating to you, that they are donating to App Camp." And it was because I was on a show called The Menu Bar, and they all said, "I heard about it on The Menu Bar. Kelly was awesome." But nobody said my name. Everybody just was like giving money to App Camp. And so I'm like, okay, I guess I am kind of a weapons grade cheerleader. So I'll take it.
So it had nothing to do with the fact that you were dancing on the bar at the
On
menu.
the bar at the time. I admit nothing.
Yeah.
How dare you? I demand video proof. Jeff, you're
See?
welcome.
Kelly, I've just got the weapons grade cheerleader stuck in my head. Just this image. Ready?
But
Okay.
right?
I have a whole nother mental image going, Jeff, and I'm not going to describe it. I'm not even on
I'm looking
MacVoices
up a
After
song
Dark.
right now.
Chuck, I
what
still
image?
have that uniform.
Yeah. No, don't go there, Kelly. No, because I'm not
I was actually a cheerleader all 4 years of high school. I'm
I'm
sure
not
it will come as a
surprised.
shock to approximately no one.
It's no surprise.
Yeah. Hey, serious note, David, I wanted to let you know that toward the end of the show, when you were commenting, you were out of sync in a pretty substantial way.
Oh no.
Really?
You look like you're back now, but
You know what? I bet you I was updating my Apple TV. I shouldn't have done that. That's probably
I
what did
bet-
it.
yep, I bet you're
Oh.
right. So,
Yeah.
okay, well then,
I just assumed it was a time zone thing.
No, I I ran the update. It was about probably about 15 minutes, 20 minutes ago.
Yeah,
Sounds about right.
Probably dummy.
that probably did.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will also share this with the chat room, but another thing that I have taken great pleasure in today, which has been very kind and helpful to me, is the YouTube link I just dropped in the Zoom chat. I will put it in the chat room since it looks like they're still there. This is the greatest thing I have seen in I don't know how long.
I can't
And
wait
if
to
you-
watch this.
And you need to know your life will be better.
It's Emmy Award winning Ted Lasso.
I know. Emmy Award winning Brett Goldstein.
Yes.
Oh,
Just look at the title.
oh.
And that's it. It's exactly what it says
that-
on the tin.
It was
that's what-
interviewed on Jimmy Kimmel. It was a great interview if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, Brett Goldstein's he's
Of course it is. He's
he's
amazing.
great.
He's so good.
What?
But this is unabashedly his favorite movie, Muppet Christmas Carol.
And wasn't there something? Where am I thinking about? Oh, I was watching a Saturday Night Live that when they pulled the old guys up and they don't
Statler
have
and
little
Waldorf,
legs.
yeah.
Yeah. They were just showing that on the Emmys, I think.
It's
Yeah, because it was part of Keenan Thompson's Emmy reel, I think.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
every time I see Roy Kent on screen, I keep.
He's here. He's there. He's everywhere.
Oh, no,
I
the
won't do
thing
it.
is, the
You-
first
you
thing
left
I
out a
saw
word.
him in was Doctor Who,
He's every effing where.
and
Yeah.
so I just keep waiting for a TARDIS, or I hear his
You're
his
waiting
voice
for the
from his
warp,
Doctor
aren't
Who
you?
character. Yeah, and it doesn't pull me out of Ted Lasso, but it's just this thing that's always there. It's the guy from Doctor Who,
Mhm.
and now I think it's going to be the guy from Doctor Who that does Muppet impressions.
So I've told David this story already, but there's an actual footballer who that's his chant. The thing that they do for Roy
Right.
Kent, that's a real thing from actual football in the UK. And his name is I don't remember, like Roy LaBeouf or something, whatever it is. Like, so they would chant it for him. And then he was doing an interview and said his grandmother had heard it in stadiums, like watching games, and she didn't appreciate that they were all using bad language in the song that was for her grandson. And so this interview came out. So it was, Roy LaBeouf, he's here, he's there, he's every up and where. And then the next, like after the interview came out, they played another match and he comes out on the field and they all go, Roy LaBeouf, he's here, he's there, we're not allowed to swear.
Yeah. Just like he
Well,
wasn't
Mom
allowed to
said-
swear. Allowed to swear on the Emmys, and he did anyway.
He totally did. Yeah, I loved it.
Jeff, was he a recurring character on Doctor Who? Because I don't.
No,
Remember-
he was in one episode. It's
Okay.
the Jodie
Goldstein?
Whittaker Doctor,
Yeah.
and it's the one where they end up on this like hospital ship, and they have to chase down this little monster that just like eats all the metal, and wants to get at the power lines and stuff, and so they have to stop this thing before it destroys the ship.
It's a bunch of big white hallways.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. and I remember the episode, but I guess I just
Mhm.
never made the connection. I'll have to go back and find it.
That was Brett Goldstein.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
Hmm.
that's when I text you, Kelly. You hadn't watched the Emmys yet. That's when I got teary-eyed for Hannah Whittingham. That was just so great.
She was so good. I loved her. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I also loved her like also that her speech was very like reflective,
Yeah.
like I couldn't have gotten this award if I wasn't surrounded by all these great people, and like there's no Rebecca without Keeley. Like that was really heartwarming to me to watch.
And
that.
then and to Jason Sudeikis too. That was great.
That was a nice speech.
Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3. Andrew, Jim, did you watch the Emmys?
Oh,
No.
I didn't watch the Emmys.
No.
I just watched the clips from
The clips and highlights. Yeah.
Okay. I was going to say,
I
I'm
did
fascinated.
watch it.
I'm
I did watch
fascinated
it
by the-
because it's Ted Lasso. Normally I wouldn't.
Okay. I mean, I didn't even think about it because I saw, I guess the next morning I saw that, obviously the, what shoot,
They won
Palace? Yeah, but Ted Lasso. But what was the?
Oh,
What's the other?
the Crown.
Queen's Gambit and
The
the
Crown.
Queen's Gambit.
Yeah,
Oh.
Yeah.
that they were big winners, and it's like, oh,
And they were all in London too. They would always cut over
Mhm.
satellite to
Yeah,
London
they had
every
like
time
the
they won.
satellite location in London. I thought that was a clever way to handle it. Like,
Yeah, it did. It
Mhm.
transitioned well. I was impressed.
yeah.
That's a good reminder. I still need to finish the Queen's Gambit. I'm gonna add that
Yes,
to
you
my list right
do.
now.
Yeah, I need to.
Yeah.
I haven't.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful series. It is so well done.
And even Hacks one. I was really happy about that too.
Yeah,
I love that show too.
I haven't watched Hacks or Mayor of Easttown, but apparently I have to because they were all
Hacks. Oh my god,
many
you gotta watch
nominated.
Hacks. I
Yeah.
actually I binge watched it. It's 10 episodes. I couldn't stop. It was just so good.
has anybody else watched or listened to, depending on how you think about it, Calls?
Well, it's a show
I
and a
want to.
podcast, and I haven't yet. Charlotte watched it, right, Andrew? Didn't her and
Yeah,
Dave talk about
she
it on
did.
Media Plus? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
that is very, very well done. I mean, you are confused for like the first couple episodes. You know, it becomes a variation on a theme leading up to something.
Yeah.
But it's like, what is this? You know, and
what
I
network
like
is it
that
on?
though. That's kind of fun.
it's
TV
Apple
Plus.
TV.
Oh,
Or
it's
it's
Apple
Apple
TV.
TV. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a TV Plus show.
How much
Yeah.
I missed?
Yeah,
How did I miss that?
I read and probably wrote a little bit about it, and I do want to see it eventually. It just sounded really unique and interesting.
Andrew, that's it. It's, you know, it's really tough for anybody to do something new. And I felt like, sitting there watching it, this is new. Nobody
Mhm.
has done this before in this way. And so that was one of the reasons because I heard Dave Hamilton talking about it.
Mhm.
And it's like, okay, if Dave says it's weird, then I'll probably like it.
Dave
Yeah.
knows.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dave
so,
knows weird.
yeah. Is anybody else watching Evil?
Not yet, but apparently I should be.
You should be. You
Because
should
I've
be.
heard from a couple of people like, I know the kind of stuff you like to watch, Kelly. This is your jam. So
Yeah. I mean,
I'm gonna have to get into it.
Well, what surprised me that I would find it at all interesting, because are we still live? Yeah, I'm going to say goodbye to the chat room before I say this. Take care, chat room. Good to
Right.
see you.
Bye, chat room.
If you are Mac Voices After Dark listener,
chat
then
room.
you can hear what I'm about to tell them. But other than that,
Ooh.
Take
And
care.
if you're not a Mac Voices After Dark listener, you could be. Tell them where to sign up, Chuck.
Patreon.com/Mac Voices. Thank you, Kelly.
Seamless.
Yes.
Seamless.
Silver, gold, or
You're
platinum
welcome.
level, and you get, or no, excuse me, for After Dark, you get at any level. If you want to be part of the Mac Voices Slack, then why am I doing this now? We should have done this during the show. But
Yeah, you should
anyway,
be
You
doing
just
it
have
every
to
time.
edit
I'll remember-
it in earlier.
yeah.
We'll
You
do it.
did
We'll-
do it during the show.
We'll fix it in post. It's fine.